Now let's look at the fowls of the air. Fowls of the air. He said, where the carcass is, there the eagles will gather. So when the church of Jesus Christ is dead, then vultures will come into the church. And I can tell you today, there are many vultures in the church. When Jesus said, where the carcass is, there the eagles will gather, he was talking about the Jerusalem becoming apostate. And when Jerusalem becomes apostate, the vultures, that is the Roman army, will invade the place. So where the carcass is, the eagles gather. And I tell you people, there are too many carcasses in the church. Dead bodies and corpses. So it's talking about the birds of the air. And these birds of the air, for those of you who sometimes dream and you see birds and all kinds of strange things, some birds in life, when you see them in your dreams, you have to get worried. One of them is an owl. Owl, they spell it, what is the spelling of an owl? O-W-L. O-W-L. Jeremiah chapter 50 and the verse number 39 and 40. It says something about the owl. Jeremiah 50 verse 39 and 40. About the owl. He said, and the owls shall dwell. Therefore, the wild beast of the desert with the wild beast of the island shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. Listen, the owl is something you don't take for granted when you see it around you. I don't allow some kind of animals in my space. I remember one day I sat in one of our cars, and then there were a lot of ants in the car. And the drivers just made a comment. They said, oh, you know, Daddy, we saw these ants in the car and we tried to spray them and they wouldn't die. I prayed against the ants. I said, I bind you, whoever sent you. No, I don't joke with any strange thing I see around me. One day I went behind our house on the trees. I saw bats. I said, bats in this house. Cut down every tree, trim every tree down and remove every bat from this house. They said, oh no, you know, the bats, they want shade. I said, this house is not a shade for bat. This bird, I don't even know whether to call it a bird or whatever it is. That thing is so ugly. I think it's a mammal. It's so ugly. I don't know what it is doing in my house. I cut down the trees, I removed all the leaves and then drove them away. But see, an owl in particular is not an animal you want to be joking with. I knew a lady, and I will not describe the lady to you too well because I'm in public space and the internet and everything. She had this owl that followed her from place to place. Her father was an idol worshiper, and the father knew about the owl. So one day, her father went to visit her. This is a lady I knew personally. The father went and visited her. She was in the room. She heard the father was talking. And she came out and asked the father, Daddy, what are you talking to? And the father said, you see this owl? This owl has been following you from your childhood. And anytime you go somewhere, sometimes it's another owl. But owls have been following you all your life. And that is why you have all these setbacks in life. I came to talk to the owl to stop following you. So when you came out, I was talking to the owl. You know, when Herod, in the book of, when Herod was giving that speech, and he sat on the throne and started giving the speech, the Bible said the angel of the Lord smote him, and he fell down and died. But when the historian called Jerome wrote the story on Herod, he didn't say Herod saw an angel. Now this is historical, so we go with the biblical perspective. But I'm just telling you what Jerome wrote. Jerome said that what Herod actually saw was that Herod was sitting on the throne and he saw a rope, and on that rope an owl was standing. So he interpreted it to be a bad omen. And Jerome says as soon as he saw it, he had a pain in his stomach, and worms began to come out of his stomach, crawled up to his tongue, went back, and then finally he died after 5 days in the midst of that excruciating pain. That was Jerome's own. I will advise you to go by what the Bible said, that it was an angel that smote him and he died. But you know what, people, stop taking a lot of the things you see for granted, especially when it comes to birds. And there are human beings sometimes who are dangerous like human birds. When he says where the carcass is, there the eagles will gather. The eagles over there is vultures. And there are human beings who are like vultures. They like where the carcass is. And that is why people, those of you who like to do grand funerals, you will have to be very careful. Because whenever you announce funeral, then vultures are getting ready to gather. You gather more vultures at a funeral than you gather eagles. But God has called us to cluster and keep company with eagles, but not with vultures. That is why Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. I pray that the next time you hold a funeral, I pray that any vultures that come to the place, may the Lord protect you from the vultures. May the Lord protect you from the vultures. King Nebuchadnezzar, the judgment of God came upon Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar was driven into the wilderness. And the Bible said that he developed the feathers of a bird and the claws of an eagle. So there are human beings that are dangerous. They are like vultures. They want to see you dead and they feed on your carcass. May the Lord deliver you from dogs and from vultures and from the human sword. A baker was in the prison with a man called Joseph. And the baker had a dream and told Joseph the dream. He said, Joseph, Brother Joe, I just had a dream. And in the dream, I saw myself carrying 3 baskets, 3 white baskets. And on the uppermost one, there were assorted pastries. And the birds of the air were feeding on them. Joseph says, sir, the interpretation of your dream is not good. In 3 days' time, Pharaoh will take you out of this prison and will cut off your head. They will hang you, and the birds of the air will eat your flesh. I pray, anybody under the sound of my voice, to whom they have assigned birds, evil birds. Today, Papa mentioned the scripture. I said, the snare is broken and we are escaped. I like something the Bible also said, that as the swallow by flying, so the curse causeless shall not come to pass. I pray that any bird that has been assigned to take your life or to take your seed. Jesus said something. He said, the sower went forth to sow, and he planted seed, and some of the seed fell by the wayside, and the birds of the air came and picked the seed. And he told his disciples, said, this is the interpretation. The seed that fell by the wayside are the seed the devil, the sower sowed, but Satan. So he's referring to the birds of the air as Satan, and Satan is the bird of the air. He says Satan came and stole and took the seed. Your children are your seed. I said your children are your seed. Any satanic agent, any satanic messenger, any witchcraft spirit that is assigned to your family to steal your seed, to take your children, to take your family, to take your business, we rebuke the seed. Listen, Abraham made a sacrifice and he sat down to watch the sacrifice. And when the birds of the air were coming to take the sacrifice, Abraham kept driving them away. Today, before I get to the next one I'll be talking about is the beast. Before I get to the beast, I want you to clap your hands and pray and drive away any bird, any evil bird that is sent to consume your seed, your children, your wife, your business, your ministry. Your ministry is your seed. Your business is your seed. Your life is your seed. Come on, pray. We drive away every bed. We strike the power of the enemy. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Come on, pray.